All right, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We are back live. Great time to break out the Yelly sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Thank you to Tyler at Wisco Ball, by the way, for that. You can get one of these bad boys. Great time to break it out while Christian Yelich is having a great month of May. Spoiler alert, a little bit on Jake's end, a little bit of foreshadowing. But
Yes.
we are going to start as we have every Wednesday so far in May with our gratitude challenge. So one thing from our personal life and one thing from Wisconsin sports that we are grateful for as part of Mental Health Month, which is on day 17 already. It doesn't feel like it's already May 17th and that we've had 17 days of Mental Health Awareness Month come and go, and I've had a post every single day in relation
hmm
to mental health, sports, and the combination of
hmm
the two. So, Jake, I'll let you go first because you're back this week after a 1 week absence. One thing from your personal life and one thing from Wisconsin sports.
So for my personal life, with Mother's Day just being around the corner, we're past it. I want to say thank you to my mother for dealing with my bullshit my entire life. I don't think there's another way I could phrase it that would give it, the feeling. I also want to thank my dad. Both my parents have sacrificed a lot in their lives to get me to the point where I am today, and they still to this very second support me with no second guessing. So I just want to say thank you to my parents. I love you guys very much. And then I want to thank the GMs for all our sports teams. Those are the people that get dragged the most, I feel like, in on social media. When things are going bad, right away it's point to the GM. The GM didn't do this, and that I've been having a lot of Packers discussions lately. So it's always Brian didn't do this, Brian didn't do this, Brian didn't do this. And I'm thinking, like, do you understand all the things that have to happen for wins and losses? Like, it's not
Yeah,
just all on Brian. He's giving us players to put us in the best position. So
right.
I just want to say thank you. It feels like the least thankless job. I don't know if that's proper English, but it feels like the least thankless job
Most
um,
thankless.
in sports. Um, yeah, the most. I don't know.
I would say most thankless. It's
The
up there.
most. It's the most thankless job, I feel like, in sports, because people are always just on top of them, and no matter what they do, you're gonna have a crowd of people that are mad at you. So they're
Always
doing what they think
criticism.
is best for their team. Brewers, Bucks, Packers. Obviously, in college, we have ads. So I feel like McIntosh is doing a great job with the football program, I would say. And we have a lot of winning programs at Wisconsin, but
Mm-hmm.
the football program has a lot of optimism around it right now.
Yep.
Also, today is 100 days from the kickoff, so that's exciting.
Nice.
Which means 101 days till I turn 31. That's not exciting.
I haven't hit
um,
30 yet, but that'll be right before you turn 31. So,
yeah, that's weird how that worked out, but here we are.
yeah.
Yeah, what's your options, buddy?
So I'm gonna just first one. I'm gonna say thank you for Taylor because Taylor has been keeping us up to date on all the things which we'll talk about shortly after. But Taylor's back for the beginning of a show instead of hopping in the middle. So excited that Taylor
Mhm.
gets to watch a whole show. And yes, Taylor, Jake is old.
Yes,
He's gonna be old and crusty. And
yes, yes, I am.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay. So for me, on as far as personal life goes, I want to say thank you to my grandfather. Actually, he has. I won't reveal the amount or anything because he wanted to remain kind of anonymous. But I'm gonna give my grandpa a thank you because he is donating a chunk of money towards our scholarship that's gonna come along with our announcement that we have for Monday, or re-announcement or continued announcement that we have for Monday. So I want to say thank you to my grandpa for doing that.
Mhm.
Um, he didn't want a lot of notoriety for it or anything like that, but I just wanted to give him a shout out on the show because he is doing something that's going to benefit us and somebody whoever ends up receiving the scholarship. As far as Wisconsin sports go, I want to say that I am grateful for Joel Piamps.
Mhm.
For a guy who was a throw-in the William Contreras trade, he has been what I've said and will continue to say, been the most underrated player on the Milwaukee Brewers this season. So I'm thankful for Yoel Piamps is my gratitude for the day. Now, before we start and jump into the Brewers and Royals season series and our power pairs, I want to reiterate again that Monday, the 22nd, that's 5 days from now, we will be at American Family Field with Mental Health America at a table at American Family Field. This is arguably the biggest thing that we have done for our show. We are actually literally working with one of the teams that we talk about every week and getting to be there during Mental Health Awareness Month with the ladies from Mental Health America who have helped us massively put this table together and have things for us to be able to hand out at this game, which will be on Monday. So if by any chance you can get to the Brewers game on Monday, we will post eventually when we know exactly where we're going to be in the stadium. We'll post that location for sure. But we'll be in there. We'll be in the building. We know that much. So as soon as we have the information of where exactly in the building we're going to be, we will obviously put that information out. But we will for sure be there at Monday's game at a table promoting Wisco Fanatics and Mental Health America during Mental Health Awareness Month. So if this is something that goes well, what Jake and I are hoping is that we can take this event and present it to the Packers, the Bucks, the Badgers, and potentially any sports team in Wisconsin and say, look, this is what we did. Can we do this, at Lambeau, at Fiserv, at Camp Randall, at the Kohl Center, anything like that throughout the year and not just during Mental Health Awareness Month, which Jake and I are going to be part of something else with Mental Health America in the month of June. So that'll be coming up next month, which is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is definitely a heavy topic to get into, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, Jake, is there anything you want to say before we hop into some Power Pair?
I also just want to extend my thank you to the ladies at Mental Health America, everybody really who works there that, took the time to look our show up, study us, and give us a chance, man. We're just two kids from Kiel, Wisconsin with a dream, man. So we're just going to ride the wave, baby.
Taylor's going to be there. Taylor's excited to see us, and we're excited to meet Taylor as well. And Bill,
you better not call me
if you're
old
watching,
in real
I
life.
hope you can make it too. That would be.
You better not call me old in real life, man.
I'll do it. I don't give a fuck.
You're different. I know you for a long time.
Taylor's younger than us, though, or younger than me. I'm already younger than you, but. All right. Give me your power position player. Basically, only two choices. We put our heads together and each picked one, so we didn't have the same one. But there's really only two choices in my mind.
Yeah, so I went with Yelly, who Tyler is showing off on the chest there. For the week, he went 6 of 13, 7 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 runs, 3 home runs, and 2 stolen bases. He's up to 9 stolen bases now this year, so that's great to see. I wrote down his May stats, for all the haters to suck on while they think of their next hate tweet for Christian Yelich. 48 at-bats, 16 hits, 10 runs, 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. Now, I'm going to go through his average, his on-base percentage, his slugging percentage, and his OPS, which is slugging and on-base percentage. His average is 333. Thank you, Jesus. His on-base percentage is 396. His slugging percentage is 604. So, he's getting up there. And his OPS is 1,000. So, if you're going to hate on this guy, you better wait till the end of the month of May because he's absolutely raking right now.
So I just pulled it up to see where he's at, where he's come from where he was.
Mm-hmm.
So to begin the Colorado series, he was batting – or going into the Colorado series, he was batting 223. He's now batting 258.
Yeah.
So he has raised his batting average 35 points.
He does that again, people are going to really have to shut up.
Oof. If he raises his batting average another 35 points and he's batting 293 and getting on base as much as he is and stealing bases and playing elite defense.
Yeah.
Sheesh. We're going to be talking about an all-star.
Yeah, then people can stop talking about that contract.
Which even defensively he's already on pace to earn if you look at his fielding wins above replacement. But That's a conversation for later in the season. The only other guy that was really in contention for this power pair position player was Owen Miller, Wisconsin native Owen Miller. Josh, yes, they will complain when he has an off game. People do that all the time. Yep. With any polarizing player, Chris Middleton's the exact same way.
True.
One bad game, oh my God, he's terrible. Trade him, cut him, whatever. Don't extend his option, whatever. Christian Yelich is the same thing. Polarizing player, and now people feel so stubbornly that they have to stick to their opinions that they can't just be happy that somebody on their team is performing well.
Yeah.
Which is why we put out the reel that I put out, I think it was yesterday, about normalizing updating your opinions in light of new evidence. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not saying that you have to be all the way back on the Christian Yelich bandwagon and say, oh my God, he's back to 2019 Christian Yelich. Like, don't have to go that far. He's playing better in the month of May than he was than the month of April, better than he has over the last couple of years. And on track to at least be nearing how good he was in 2018 and 2019.
True.
So you can update your opinion. Nobody's going to be like, oh my God, you said he was terrible. Like, you can say he's playing well. Nobody's going to crucify you for it.
No.
So as Taylor said, it's Miller time. Owen Miller, he is in the lineup again today in place of Christian Yelich. The Brewers are playing another lefty. Craig Counsell did said that Christian Yelich was dealing with some back tightness. So Owen Miller is going to play again today, in part because you can't take him out of the lineup.
Yeah.
The dude's on an 18-game on-base streak and has a 9-game hitting streak going. Yeah. Over the last week, he is 8 of 18. That's a .444 batting average. Has 4 doubles and a home run and only 2 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Now, I looked up Christian Yelich's batting average for the month of May and what he's done to it so far. Owen Miller's is crazier. Owen Miller, coming into the month of May, was batting .273.
Oh, boy.
He's now batting .329.
Oh.
He's raised his batting average in 2 weeks of inconsistent playing time because he's a platoon guy.
Yeah.
He has raised his batting average 56 points.
That is a lot. I don't know how to react to that. That's insanity.
That is awesome. Even better, you get the little cherry on top of him being a Wisconsin native, so just adds a little extra
that's the best part.
Fuel to the flame of how good Owen Miller has been over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who is your power pitcher?
I went with your boy Joel Payamps. 3 2/3 innings pitched, only 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. I also looked up his May. He's faced 35 batters. He has only given up 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts, and he's appeared in 7 games. So 14 strikeouts and 35 batters faced is disgusting. Only 2 earned runs given up is disgusting. And 1 was last night, I believe. Yeah, one of his earned runs was last night.
Yep.
Otherwise, he only gave a 1 earned run this month.
Mm-hmm.
And he's appeared in 7 games. So, I mean, he's absolutely having a great May as well.
The thing that stands out to me about that, honestly, 14 strikeouts to 1 walk.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
14 to 1 K to walk ratio. Damn.
He's been good, man. Absolutely.
All right. So I went with Devin Williams. He hasn't pitched often enough to really be, in the forefront of the Brewers bullpen. Over the last week, he only made 2 appearances in 2 2/3 of an inning. Only gave up 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. Last night is probably the thing that really sealed the deal of Devin Williams being my power pitcher this week, coming in to get the 5-out save, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we get into last night's game. But who is your underrated performer for the week?
So my underrated performer, I went with a guy named Bryce Terang. Bryce Terang is 5 of 16 in the last 5 games, 2 runs, 3 RBIs, and a massive home run with 2 outs that we will get into as well later. But in the month of May, he's 13 of 40. So he's batting .325 in May. So he's getting better. He's seeing the ball a little bit better. I looked up his strikeout percentages by month. In April, he was striking out 34%. which is not great, right? But you kind of expect the ups and downs with the rookies, right? We told you before the season. We're going to tell you before the Badger season. There's going to be ups and downs, even with all the optimism. Packer season, we're going to tell you the same exact thing. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Ride the wave, enjoy it. In May, he has taken it down 4%. He's down to 30% strikeout rate. So if he continues to put that in the right direction, continues to put the ball in play, he comes out of left field. He's a lefty batter, so he's already closer to first base. Just put the ball in play. He's got great speed, great instincts, continue to play great defense. I feel like Bryce is really carving out a big role in Milwaukee, and I could see the value for a Bryce Terang.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I went with Peter Strzelecki. I wanted to give Peter Strzelecki some love after having a pretty rough Colorado series. He made 3 appearances this week, 3 1/3 innings, only gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and no earned runs. He got into a little bit of hot water last night, but the Brewers were able to get out of it. But I wanted to give Peter Strzelecki some love, mainly for bouncing back well after having a pretty rough Colorado series, and for him to have pitched well since then.
All right. Let's get into this Royal Series, my man.
Let's get into this Royal Series. Let's do it. Let's start with the first game. What stood out to you from the first game of the Royal Series?
Well, just like tonight, they had to face our ace, Corbin Burnes, and I think that he was good. Outside of the 4 walks, he's had a problem with walks this year, but
it's his cutter command is really the thing that dictates it.
And that's the craziest shit, man, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago when I was on, is when he has the cutter going, he's Cy Burns, right?
Yep.
When he doesn't have the cutter going, he's still a really good pitcher. Like let's not cut it any other way. He's still a very valuable pitcher that can get you a lot of wins and keep you in some ball games.
Right.
In this game as well, Yelly, Taylor, Anderson, and Miller. That's 4 different people with RBIs. I love when multiple people are contributing to the run support. This is the game where Miller got to put the cheese head on for the first time. And I got to tell you, as a Wisconsin kid, that had to be an insane feeling.
Yeah.
First of all, hitting your first home run at home, right? You know, in the stadium that you grew up going to, and then putting on a cheese head afterwards. I mean, talk about a freaking moment that you're never going to forget as a Wisconsin kid. So I'm really happy for him. Payamps was absolutely destructive in this game. Strzelecki was very good in this game, and Peguero was also just disgusting. Our bullpen has been really, really good outside of 1 game this week, in my opinion. You take the 1 game out, that's the 1 game that we lost. We got all W's. Our bullpen has been fantastic. And when we get into the game about last night, dude,
I'm giving the bullpen tons of credit when we get to last night's game.
Yeah. But even in this game, look at this, three innings pitched, only 1 hit. They gave up 1 hit in 3 innings. That's disgusting, dude. That's how you win a lot of ball games, 5-1. Going against a guy like Zach Greinke, who, by the way, just joined a list of some elite guys to strike out 1,000 different batters, right?
Players, yeah.
Yeah, so that's impressive. I love that he was a Brewer and he's on that list. So, that's what stood out.
I had a Zach Greinke jersey, actually. He wore number 13, so it had to happen.
I probably have the jersey tee somewhere, man. I have a box of old T-shirts from when I was younger, man. I haven't opened that thing.
I have a bunch of like jersey tees from my grandma. When she passed, I was given all of her old sports T-shirts.
Oh, did you see
yep,
Taylor's comment?
Huh. I haven't looked into it, so I'm not super sure that that's a thing. But it could be.
Yeah.
So you mentioned liking having contributions from everybody in the lineup.
Yep.
So let me throw this out to you. Every player was on base at least once.
See, I love that.
5 players were on twice or more.
Yeah, that's when the Brewers' offense is humming, especially this offense where they're being more patient.
Right. That's where you're getting multiple hits in a row and stringing hits together. Okay, Taylor said they were talking about it on air.
Well, I'm just going to give you insider information. Tyler and I don't really get to listen to the games very much with kids running around, so we basically just got to watch and kind of piece
it really depends on the day. Like tonight's game, I'll probably watch like the first 3 innings, and then Courtney and the girls will get home, and I'll have it turned off, and I'll finish watching it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So like tomorrow or tonight's game, I should get to see all of it, just half today and half tomorrow. But I'm glad that Bally does like replays with all the commercials cut out because that makes it easy to watch the rest of the game the following morning.
For sure.
But okay, so bottom of the first inning, Willie Adames gets on base, steals second, gets to third base on the throw. Christian Yelich bats him in, and Christian Yelich then goes and steals a base, like Jake talked about. Christian Yelich raising his stolen bases. Mm-hmm. Bottom of the fourth, Tyrone Taylor drives a single drives in Brian Anderson. Bottom of the fifth, the Brewers go double, walk, ground out, walk, get the bases loaded with 1 out, and Brian Anderson gets a tapper to the mound. It turns into a 1-2-3 double play. That's a really tough double play, and I want to give the Royals credit for it. Going from the pitcher to the plate, and then for the catcher to jump out in front of the plate and make the throw to first. That's a tough double play to turn. I will give the Royals credit for it. There's nothing wrong with giving the Royals credit for making a tough play.
No, not at all.
Top of the sixth inning, Burns is just the second pitcher to go over 100 pitchers this year for the Brewers.
Oh, wow. Who's the other one? Do you know?
Freddie Peralta.
That makes
Probably
sense.
Could have guessed that.
Yeah, I could have guessed that. Yeah.
Bottom of the sixth, sorry. Luke Voit gets a single and then stole second base on a Rowdy Tellez strikeout. Luke Voit stole a base.
Yeah.
The audacity. He did get stranded there. Corbin Burns finished his night at 6 innings pitched with 7 strikeouts and 4 walks, only 2 hits, but didn't give up any runs, so the walks didn't come back to hurt him, thankfully. Top of the seventh, Joel Payamps, the only run that he allowed this week was a solo home run with 2 outs that made the game 3-1. Bottom of the seventh, Owen Miller got his 3rd hit of the day, was a triple short of the cycle in the first game of that Royals series. So great job by him. William Contreras, followed it up with a walk. Then a wild pitch got to the Brewers with 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. Catcher interference loaded the bases with nobody out. Christian Yelich ripped an RBI single. Willie Adames was thrown out at second after overrunning the stop sign. That's just kind of one of those things where you just got to, I don't know, Willie Adames just has to be paying attention to his base coaches a little bit more. There's nobody out. So there were, didn't want to send the runner from third base to try to score a pair on Yelich's single. And Willie Adames thought that they were going to send him and just overran second base and got thrown out there. Just kind of one of those things where you just got to be paying attention.
Yeah.
It happens because the baseball is a long season. But, just kind of a lapse of attention there by Willie Adames. Brian Anderson followed up with an RBI single that made the Brewers 5-1 lead. Got Brian Anderson a little bit of redemption after the grounding into the double play with the bases loaded the previous inning. Top of the 8th, that's where Peter Strzelecki shined. 1-2-3, top of the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th, Brewers go walk, single, walk. Got the bases loaded with 2 outs, left them stranded. The Brewers left 10 men on base in the first game of this series. Elvis Peguero came in, got a 1-2-3 top of the 9th inning, and that was all she wrote. So really, like Jake said, contributions by everybody in the first game of that Royals series.
Yeah, so I know we talk about players left on base a lot, but this is kind of that perspective kind of deal where like a lot of people were contributing and we still had 10 people left on base. Right. So that's the perspective where if you're just looking at the box score, you're going to be like, damn, man, they left 10 on base again. But you got to watch the game and understand the feel of the game to understand that.
Bases loaded being stranded twice, that's tough. Grounding into a double play with the bases loaded, that's 2 more right there. Stuff like that. Yeah. That's context within the game, like you're saying, like you said, it looks rough on the box score, but you watch the game, it's just a couple spots. And I want to give actually Joe Barry some credit. This is a weird tie-in to make here, but watching Joe Barry's interview yesterday, I feel this applies to really all sports. Football 1000%. I do think it applies to baseball though. And Joe Barry, what he said was it's really just 5, 6, or 7 plays that determine the outcome. And the Brewers had some of those opportunities that could have turned this into an 18-1 win for the Brewers, but you settle for a 5-1 win with 10 guys left on base. It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's go to game 2. What's stood out to you from the second game of the
Well, if we don't start by saying Yelich hit 2 home runs, then we're doing it wrong, right?
I have lots of Yelich stuff with this one.
Yeah. So first of all, Adrian Hauser was back for his second start, I believe.
Yep.
4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 1 walk, 3 earned runs, and 2 Ks. Hobie Milner had a good outing. He's been kind of rough up and down the last couple of weeks, but he looked. When did he pitch? Not last night, right? Yeah, it was last night.
He pitched last night.
He looked okay last night. The outing before that was again. Oh, this is what I was talking about. Yeah, sorry. Put a star next to it because I wanted to talk about it. He looked better in this outing. Joel Payamps was good again. Your boy Peter Strzelecki. Every time I see Peter Strzelecki, I'm just like, yeah, Tyler's glued right now, glued to the TV.
And then Payamps are both becoming my guys,
right? Devin Williams always phenomenal. He was good as well. Wanted to go over a couple things real quick here. First of all, Yelly's 2 home runs. First one was on a cutter that he missed middle of the plate. Second one was on a sinker. He also missed a little bit high. So Yelly just absolutely destroying when pitchers are making mistakes, and that is okay. 2 of his 3 RBIs were with 2 outs. That's what you like to see from a guy who's a former MVP candidate trying to become that again. Gonna go over how the Brewers got this win because it was the second walk-off win of the year. Second one by a rookie. First of all, it started out Anderson with a hit. Solid hit, opposite field. Love it. I'll take those all day long. Terang, he had an all right at bat, but he ended up flying out. Now, the man of the hour, Miller time, baby. He hits a clutch double. Now we have second and third with 1 out. Weimer has 1 job. Go up there and make good contact.
With the ball in the grass.
Exactly that. And that's easier said than done, right?
Oh, yeah.
But for a guy, Joey Weimer, to be in that position, rookie year, a team that's been kind of up and down, but he goes up there and he just smacks it to deep center, and the Brewers walk away with a series win.
Yeah,
that's how easy it is, man. We'll just have Yelly hit 2 home runs. We'll have our bullpen be amazing, and then we'll just hit walk-off sac flies. Who's going to argue with that, right?
Wins are wins. They don't ask how; they ask how many.
Exactly, man.
Which is why when we get to the first game of the Cardinals series, I'm going to say what I tweeted out on Monday after that game. But so the Royals start this game with a leadoff double. The Royals get 1 run. What's up, James? The Royals get a run out of it. Top of the second inning, they get more traffic, but don't get any more runs out of it. Top of the third inning, a 2-0 double. 2 2-0 doubles, make it a 2-0 lead for Kansas City. On the bottom of the third, Bryce Terang led off with a leadoff single and then 2 short flyouts, 2 short flyouts. And then Christian Yelich comes up, ties the game 2-2. He absolutely launched that first home run. The second one was good, but the first one was a monstrous home run.
Mm-hmm.
Left the bat at 110 miles an hour.
God damn. Yeah, he didn't miss it. I'll say
427 feet.
I had to feel good, bro.
I bet it felt amazing. After that, top of the 5th inning, Salvador Perez solo home run, made a 3-2 game. Hobie Milner comes in, gives up a double, doesn't give up any hits, or the Brewers, don't give up any hits for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give Owen Miller a little bit of credit too for playing third base and making a really nice catch along the netting in foul territory.
Owen Miller, dude, that guy he's quickly becoming a fan favorite.
Absolutely.
Him being from Wisconsin helps, but
it definitely helps. So you mentioned Adrian Hauser's line. It's not a great start. It's also not a terrible start. He's a guy who does give up a lot of contact, so some of those balls are going to find holes, especially with the new shift rules this year. That's something that he'll have to adjust to. It's only his second start, so I'm not worried that Adrian Hauser is not going to be better as he gets more starts. Bottom of the 5th inning, there definitely became some questionable strike calls. It is what it is. Bottom of the 6th inning, Christian Yelich again ties the game. This one was only 105 miles an hour off the bat. The thing that I did notice about Christian Yelich's 2 home runs is that he hit him to 2 different areas. He had 1 to left field, one to right field, using both sides of the outfield. So that's something that stood out to me with Christian Yelich. Joel Payamps, the thing that stood out to me with the 2 strikeouts that he had in the 7th inning, just nasty sliders. And then Peter Strzelecki comes in and does the same thing, strikes out the side with a bunch of nasty sliders. So now you've had 2 straight innings where the last 6 outs, 5 of them have been strikeouts and a bunch of nasty sliders coming in your way. And then you have to face Devin Williams.
Good luck.
And the thing with Devin Williams was he was doing a great job of changing speeds. He was throwing a bunch of changeups and then striking guys out with fastballs.
Yeah, he's been really good this year with changing eye levels as well.
That too, yes. Very good point. Absolutely good point. So Christian Yelich with his 2 home runs, that was his 9th multi-home run game, the 4th multi-home run game by a Brewer this season. And something we didn't mention.
Sheesh.
Oh, shit. 2 of them happened in the same game.
True.
Brian Anderson and Garrett Mitchell both did it in the same game, the game that I was at, which was really fun to be at. And then Rowdy Tellez was the other one.
Yeah.
So that, and the thing we didn't mention with Christian Yelich, his launch angle through the month of May is his highest since a single month since 2019.
These are all positives, and I like it.
I got another one for you.
Oh.
Christian Yelich with this game was on base 20 times. On base twice, 20 times so far in 2023.
Oh, wow. That is an important stat to throw around, I think.
He did it 79 times in 2022. That was 7th most in Major League Baseball.
And he already has 20 so far, huh?
Already, yes.
I like it.
Now, that was not just the National League. That was 7th most in baseball of games on base twice or more.
Interesting.
And he's done it 20 times so far this year.
Definitely. Dude, that is a nasty stat. I like that one. Like I said, that's a good one to throw around when people are dogging him, man.
I keep telling people he's getting on base and he's playing defense. Like,
yeah.
Anything else he gives us is really just going to be pleasant surprises. I shouldn't say surprises because he's done it. But so is there anything else you want to say about the second game?
No. Good times.
Yes. Let's go to the third game, the finale of the series. What stood out to you from game 3?
A couple things here. First of all, Colin Ray, he was all right. He got banged up a little bit, but Colin Ray, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 earned runs, 3 Ks, gave up a home run. I'm going to talk about the home runs because that is Eric Lauer's problem so far this season. Eric Lauer, 5 1/3, 2 hits, both of them home runs, 2 walks. Again, his 2 earned runs were both home runs, but 6 Ks. If Lauer, and I said this before, his stuff has to bite because he doesn't have overpowering stuff. He's not going to blow stuff past you. I mean, just in the Royal Series alone, they brought in back-to-back guys. One was Chapman. I forgot the name of the other guys. That could throw 100 miles per hour. So 100 miles per hour is like, that's a thing nowadays for a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, I just saw a video of a high school kid, I believe it was in Korea, and he's already throwing 95 in high school, dude. High school. That's disgusting. The kid's going to be throwing 104 when he gets to the majors.
Right.
But Lauer has to have stuff that bites and moves a ton. Like, he has to have the Devin Williams, changeup. Or he just has to be a guy that just hits his locations.
And the zoom ball.
Yeah, he has to be one or the other. Yeah, he has to be one or the other. He has to either have a lot of movement or hit his spots. And when he misses, people don't miss his stuff. But I still have confidence in him because I've seen him do it before with this same stuff. So I'm cheering for you, Lauer. He got the win in this game. So I really hope that he can right the ship because I see his value on this team as well. Now we get to the RBIs. Yelly, 2 of them again. Another home run. This one in the first inning. Apparently he was still feeling himself from the night before. Just wanted to keep that going. Up to 7 home runs now and 23 RBIs. I mean, just keep complaining about the guy. That's all I'm going to say. Apparently it's fueling him.
He's going to have a 20-30 season. I feel it. He's going to have 20 runs and 30 stolen bases at the end of the year, and people are going to be like, damn, he hit all that?
And
Yeah, I guess
if he gets around 75 to 80 RBIs, there's absolutely, and he still plays the good defense, the elite defense. There'd be
And
no
he's
reason to
leading the
complain about
team in
him.
runs scored
Yeah,
because he's a leadoff hitter. So
think about
he's
it.
not a guy that should have super high RBI numbers because he's a leadoff hitter.
Right.
But if he said, like if you said if he's in that 75 to 80 RBI range, I mean, for a leadoff hitter, that's fantastic, especially for a guy who's going to be scoring 75 to 80 runs.
Right. Then we get to Terang. The Brewers had a 7-run third inning, and Terang capped it off with a 3-run homer, 2 on, 2 out. I was watching the game, and I was just like, bro, just get a hold of one, baby. Get a hold of one, baby. And then, me and my baby, we're jumping up and down because he smacked one to right field, baby, and I was so hype. He's up to 12 RBIs now, his 3rd home run as a Brewer. Brousseau, with 2 outs in the 7th inning, hits a home run, just a solo shot this time. Owen Miller also added to the RBI train. So 4 guys contributing, 3 guys hitting home runs. Bryce Terang's home run, though, that was a sweet spot in the game for me.
For me, it was Christian Yelich's home run. But the Royals started this game, Mother's Day, by the way.
Yeah.
Top of the 1st inning, another solo home run. He hit it with 2 outs. That was the 13th straight game by Kansas City with a home run.
Holy shit.
That's their 2nd longest streak in franchise history for the Royals. So
we're dropping Royal stats now. That's where we're going.
Well, here, I'm doing it to offer some context.
Okay.
Because, the Brewers got back on track by sweeping the Royals, and people are like, oh, it's just the Royals, the feeble Royals, the lowly Royals. Like, they're still smacking home runs.
Yeah.
Like, their offense has overall not been great, but it's been decent at times. Mm-hmm. So this was their 13th straight game with a home run. That said, bottom of the 1st inning, Christian Yelich hits his 3rd game-tying home run in 2 days. Both of his home runs in the 2nd game of the series were tying home runs, as was this one to tie the game 1-1. Mm-hmm. Now, this one left the bat faster than either of the 2 on the night before.
Goddamn.
113.5 miles an hour off the bat of Christian Yelich.
Man.
Here's why this stands out so strongly to me.
Okay.
That is the 3rd hardest hit ball of his career.
Holy shit. I like it. This guy is an MVP.
Yeah.
Just say that.
He hit 44 home runs 4 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
With half a month on the injured list.
True.
So, top of the 2nd inning, Kansas City gets some more traffic. Witt, their leadoff hitter, gets a 2-out, 2 RBI double. He's a solid player.
Yeah, he's good.
No shame to give shit to him. Dude, yeah. He's got some hair flow going, so
he's got the swag.
Yeah. Top of the 3rd inning, Kansas City gets a leadoff single, another single, and then Perez advanced to 3rd on the bad throw after the catch, and then a walk loads the bases. Kansas City gets a sac fly that makes the game 4-1. Colin Ray comes out of the game after 3 2/3 innings, gives up 6 hits, 2 walks, did have 3 strikeouts, and gave up 4 earned runs. So not a great start for Colin Ray. He's got some good stuff. I'm confident that Colin Ray can be a good pitcher. Mm-hmm. He just hasn't put it all together yet.
Agreed.
If the Brewers can bring that out of him, I mean, that's just the Brewers pitching lab's going to be back at it. He's got the stuff to strike guys out. I saw it during the Angels series when he's out there striking out Shohei Ohtani, making him swing out of his helmet, swing out of his helmet, striking out Mike Trout in the same inning. It's there for Colin Ray. It's there. It's just got to be seized. It's got to all be done at the same time, limiting the walks and obviously the home runs. That's going to be the challenge for Colin Ray. But I see an avenue where Colin Ray can succeed. And I hope it happens, obviously, for him as the person, but also for the Brewers as a franchise. If they can just crank out another starting pitcher that could be, a 3rd pitcher for another team, and he's our 6th guy. I mean, that's just a luxury at that point.
Right.
But bottom of the 3rd inning, that's where this game gets broken open. Tyrone Taylor leads off with a walk, came back from being down 1-2 in the count. Joey Weimer draws a walk. Christian Yelich knocks an RBI single, steals second base, and then advances on the throwing error, which Joey Weimer scores on. And then Christian Yelich advances to third, then sees the ball roll away and is like, fuck it, I'm gone, and takes off and scores.
And then that's the best part. He gives the "Are you not entertained?" after he scores.
That's one of those things where speed kills on the bases. This is an impact that is made that Rowdy Tellez is not making that.
Yeah, no offense, Rowdy, but
no, exactly. No offense to Rowdy, but
right.
I mean, this is something that Christian Yelich is giving you in addition to anything else that he's giving you.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving you havoc on the base paths. So I wanted to point that out.
You're making me think now. That might have been cooler than the Turang home run. I'm not sure. They were both awesome.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I know this is not a word, but it's funner to watch Christian Yelich like scamper to second base, steal the base, and then run to third on the bad throw. He Steamer score, and then the ball rolls away, and Yelich is like, poof, and it's like, like
it's one of those
sequence where it just keeps getting better every time the Royals are throwing the ball around, and the Royals manager has just got to be like in the dugout and stomping on it.
It's like one of those moments in basketball, right? Where a guy has the ball and he looks like he's going to shoot. It's like, don't shoot. He shoots it and it's cash. And you're just like, what just happened, bro?
But that's something that cuts a lead from 2 runs to 1 run.
Yeah.
So entertaining play for sure. And then Jesse Winker starts it over, draws a walk. Willie Adames flies out for the first out of the inning. Rowdy Tellez knocks a single. Owen Miller just getting another hit. Owen Miller hits a double, makes the game 5-4. Victor Caratini pops out for the second out before Bryce Durang launched that homer that Jake mentioned. And then Tyrone Taylor, the guy who started the inning, makes the third out. So the Brewers batted all the way around in that third inning. And then Jake mentioned the bottom of the 7th, Mike Brasso, pinch hitting extraordinaire.
Yeah.
It's another pinch hit home run, just like he does. I don't know what it is that, like, if we can just have Mike Brasso just pinch hit every game and just have him hit 45 dingers on the season, just all on pinch hits.
Literally just keep him on the roster for pinch hitter. That's it. If you get a couple outs by throwing somebody out, that's fine.
He was like, I think he was like 9 of 16 last year pinch hitting and had like 5 home runs and like 12 RBI as a pinch hitter. Because I know he hit a grand slam against the Mets last year as a pinch hitter, and it was awesome.
It's so dumb. Like, why is he doing that? Thank you.
I mean, he's doing it for us, so I'll take it.
Right.
So top of the 9th, you did mention the solo home runs that Lauer gave up made the final 9-6. So Lauer finished with 5 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 2 earned runs. If he were to start this game and you list that as a starter, that like, hey, Eric Lauer in this start pitched 5 1/3 innings, only gave up 2 hits, did have 2 walks, gave up a couple solo shots for 2 earned runs, and had 6 strikeouts. That's a damn good start for Eric Lauer.
I agree.
Just happened to be that he came in the middle of the 4th inning and finished the game. So still a very good stat line for Eric Lauer for this game. Mike Brasso hit the pinch hit home run. Christian Yelich was 2 for 4. Bryce Durang had the 3 RBI with the home run. Now, this game produced a whole bunch of stats too. And I texted you this, that I'm like, I like it when the Brewers win because you get juicier stats. And I got a bunch for you to go with this Royal Series. So this was the 3rd sweep for the Brewers in 2023. They only had 4 all of last season.
I knew you were going to bring that one up because I was like, he's bringing up the sweep stat.
I'm bringing it up. Now, the Brewers are also 35-21 on Mother's Day now.
Oh,
that is the best record in Major League Baseball on Mother's Day. So the Brewers like playing for the moms.
Bill Hall, baby.
Somebody said it in the Brewers writers chat that I'm in, that they were surprised that they didn't bring in Bill Hall just to like throw out the first pitch or something.
Bro, he always has to throw out the first pitch. Only on Mother's Day. Always first pitch on Mother's Day because that was like the greatest moment.
All got to be pink because, like, you know,
that would be amazing.
The pink bat, Bill Hall. That's legendary stuff in Brewers baseball mythology. So I got 2 more yet. The Brewers had 0 men left on base in this game, despite scoring 9 runs. 0 left on base. That's the 11th time in franchise history that they've had 0 men left on base. That's the 5th time that they've won with 0 men left on base. The last time they did it was June 17th, 2008. So it's been almost 15 years since the Brewers left 0 men on base and got a win.
Interesting. I like that.
This one goes back even farther. So the third game of the Royals series since 1930, there have been 4 games of 9+ runs and 0 left on base. The last time it happened was April 8th, 2002.
Wow. That's a good one. I like that. That's a good one.
All right. That's all I got. I just got that handful of juicy stats. That's all I got. All right.
Now we got to do the shitty game.
Yeah, we got to get it out of the way. And listen, like however you want to go through this is what it is. The home run that Freddie Peralta gave up to Nolan Arenado was only the 5th home run he's allowed all season. And then Goldschmidt gave the Cardinals a 4-0 lead early. And, you know, I'll say this because I've said similar things to this. Basically what I looked at this was that hopefully this is one of those games where a team just annihilates the Brewers in a game and the Brewers win the other 2 and win the series.
Yeah.
I will take a series win over an 18-1 victory every single time.
I'm waiting for the Brewers to win tonight so I can go back to the post that SportsCenter made or ESPN. And they said, not your typical baseball score. And they shared the score of the Brewers and the Cardinals. And I'm waiting to be like, are you guys going to share that we won the series or just going to point out that we lost one game?
Yeah. The tough thing for this is Gus Varland being DFA'd.
Yeah.
Tough spot. He pitched well to start the season.
Yeah.
Kind of got into a little bit of a bumpy area, then got hurt, came back, and just wasn't able to regain the solid pitching that he had given up, or that he had before his kind of the wheels came off a little bit on him, and then he got hurt. It's tough. It's weird things, home runs, left on base. The Brewers did have 3 straight singles in the top of the 8th inning to get on the board. Owen Miller, just another hit like he does.
That's all he does.
And then the game just kind of got out of control after that. I don't know if there's really anything else you want to say about it.
And they whooped our ass. They hit the ball a bunch of times. They hit the ball over the fence a bunch of times. Our pitching was not great. It is what it is, man. I'm totally on board with that frame of mind of let's take 2 out of 3.
Exactly.
That's the mindset you come in with every series. Let's take 2 out of 3. Get a series win. Get a series win.
And that's the thing. Like if you want to score more runs over the course of those 3 games and have it all based on one game, I'll take the 2 wins every single time.
100%. If you can guarantee, like, if somebody would come up to me and be like, you're playing the Cardinals, you're going to lose 1 game, get your ass whooped. You're only going to lose 1 game in the series. I would take that 100 out of 100. I'm not even shitting you. I don't even care if we win the next 2 games 1-0. I don't care.
That's exactly what I was about to get at, because the Brewers won 3-2 last night, and we're in a position where, like, if somebody comes up and says, like you said, comes up to you, says you're going to lose 1 game of the series, you're going to win 3-2, you're going to win, say the Brewers win 3-1 today.
Yeah.
You're going to be outscored in the series. What that would be 21-7, but you're going to win 2 out of 3.
I don't care. Give me the dubs.
Give me the wins. Absolutely.
The run score doesn't get you into the playoffs. I mean, in certain situations it does. But
it's kind of a tiebreaker, but the wins matter more.
Give me the wins. And the Brewers, since talking about the playoffs, I saw that we have they gave us an 81% chance to make the playoffs at this point in the season. Yeah. So, give me all the wins and give me all the 3-2s. Give me all the
I guarantee you it was not 81% 2 months ago and before the season was started.
Agreed. Give me that. Give me all the 3-2s.
Probably more like 51. All right. So let's go to game 2. What stood out to you from last night's game?
I'm gonna leave most of the heavy lifting with the bullpen for you, but good God, I am just so impressed, man. Peguero, Milner, Payam, Strzelecki, Williams. I mean, those are the guys. Those are the horses, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal job. Anderson with another home run. Weimer, what a clutch home run to tie the game at 2-2.
Yep.
Let me just say that. And he squared up on that son of a bitch. He hit it a little bit right field, but mostly center. Adames with an RBI, but the bullpen really, really needs the congratulations in this game.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where people that hate on Craig Counsell, this is where they need to give him his flowers.
And the other game that I'll say that kind of fits that description is the first game of that Royal Series, where you look at the lineup and you see that everybody was on base and that 5 guys were on base more than twice. Like, those are the games where Craig Counsell needs some credit for how he put together the lineup.
Yeah. I was really waiting to give him credit, man. I was like, I have it written down, give Craig Counsell his flowers, man. Because, when you're put in a really shitty situation with Wade Miley, who's been one of our better starting pitchers to start this season.
Arguably the best.
Arguably the best. Probably him and Freddie, I would say, would be the argument right now. Maybe Burns. But when you get in a shitty situation where after 1 2/3 you have your starter leaving the game, you're not prepared for that. That's the stuff that you got to figure out on the fly. But a guy who has managed most games in Brewers history, won the most games in Brewers history, and ejected in the most games in Brewers history. I was
waiting for you to bring it up. I'm glad you did.
He's been around the block a few times. He's won a couple of World Series. This guy knows baseball. So stop dragging. We're going to stop dragging this guy. We're going to stop dragging Christian Yelich. We're just going to enjoy Brewers baseball for what it is, and we're going to be thankful. On this Gratitude Wednesday, let's show some gratitude for Craig Counsell, a guy who's also a hometown kid.
That's a
right?
Good point. Very good point.
Just oh my God, just how beautiful this is. 1 2/3, 1 2/3, 1 1/3, 1 2/3, 1 1/3, 1 2/3. Like, just being able to put those guys in the right spots and push the right buttons in that game, in a game where after you just got your ass whooped, right? Like, let's call it what it is. We got our ass whooped. We played really good in the Royal Series. We go to St. Louis, a team that is usually up, right? Where we came into the year, we're fighting with St. Louis. That's what we were thinking. We both said it. And now you got the Cardinals down. You don't want to give them confidence.
They've been surging before this series, too. They had won 5 of 6 coming into this series, 6 of 7 when you include Monday's game.
So for us to go in there and he's just hitting everything correctly, masterful job by Craig Counsell.
Craig Counsell masterclass.
Yes.
I'm with it. So Owen Miller's leading this game off. Christian Yelich dealing with some back tightness, but they're facing left-handed pitching, so they're going to keep giving him days off just to avoid the lefty-lefty. And then the Brewers have an off day tomorrow, so that gives them 3 days of rest. I would expect, barring anything more severe, that Christian Yelich will be back in the lineup on Friday. But Owen Miller leading this game off, hits another double. The dude just keeps hitting.
That's fine with me.
Willie Adames followed up with another double. Got him in, made it a 1-0 game. Arenado ties it. I hate the Rockies.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I don't feel bad that Bryce Harper made fun of them now because I hate the Rockies for trading Nolan Arenado to the Cardinals for a bag of peanuts.
Yeah, really. What the hell was that?
I don't know. It's the devil magic that the Cardinals have. I don't know.
They
got Goldschmidt for not a lot either. I mean, Zach Gallen is a boss, but I mean, you had 2 of the 3 top players for NL MVP last year on the same team.
Yeah, that's even more credit to the bullpen for going through this lineup.
I'll get to it because some guys do some pretty nasty stuff in this game. So Wade Miley gets hurt. He has a left lat strain. They are expected to put him on the injured list. They did, and they recalled Jake Cousins. So hopefully Cousins can stick in the bullpen a little bit this time. But he's got some competition.
Fucking he does.
So Elvis Peguero, he needs a lot of credit. In addition to Craig Counsell for being in this tough spot. Elvis Peguero coming in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Man,
like you're thinking I'm probably not pitching for another 2 innings if I'm pitching today. And that's one of the things about being a bullpen pitcher that's so tough. And you put Devin Williams as one of your underrated performers because it's such a you don't know if you're pitching that day.
Right.
Not to mention you don't know if you're coming in the 3rd inning.
True.
Or the 2nd inning even. So he comes in a tough spot, pitches an inning and a third scoreless. That's fantastic work by Elvis Aguero. Milner came in after that, gave up a couple of 2-out hits, made the game 2-1. But I want to give some credit to Bryce Terang in the top of the 5th inning because he did fly out in this at bat, but he started down 0-2 and did come back to make it a 3-2 count before flying out. So I wanted to give Bryce Terang credit for, like you said, lowering that strikeout rate, putting the ball in play with a guy with his speed. That's only going to mean good things for him in the future.
Mm-hmm.
After that is when Joey Wiemer unleashed a monstrous home run to straightaway center field, made the game 2-2. Owen Miller followed it up with another hit, and then William Contreras, and William Adames got on base, and then with bases loaded with 1 out, Brewers went strikeout, fly out, weren't able to get any additional runs after the Joey Wiemer home run. Then, bottom of the 5th inning, Cardinals are coming off leaving the bases loaded stranded for the Brewers. And Joel Payamps has to face Lance Nootbaar, Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado in this inning. Strikes out Nootbaar, strikes out Goldschmidt, gives up a walk, and then strikes out Nolan Arenado.
I like that.
Boss.
Yeah.
What a boss, Joel Payamps. Dude should have walked off like Conor McGregor. That takes some nuts to go through those guys and strike them all out. Top of the 6th inning, that's when Brian Anderson, first pitch of the at-bat, just a hanging curveball, just launches it almost the exact same spot as Joey Wiemer, makes it a 3-2 game, which would be the final score. Bryce Terang did follow that up with his second hit of the night. Bottom of the 6th inning, Payamps still in, strikes out Paul DeYoung, gets a little bit of traffic on the bases, and then gets another strikeout to get out of it. Dude pitched 2 innings, had 5 strikeouts.
That's pretty good.
Payamps has got the dog in him.
Yeah, he does.
Big fan, if you can't tell. Get to the bottom of the 7th inning. Peter Strzelecki pitches a scoreless inning. Bottom of the 8th, Peter Strzelecki got 1 out, did get some traffic in, and then Devin Williams came in for a 5-out save. Before we get to the bottom of the 9th inning, top of the 9th inning, Bryce Terang made himself a 3-hit game, so great job by him getting that batting average up. Bottom of the 9th, Devin Williams did get a little bit of traffic. Joey Wiemer misplayed a ball in center field. It's not the end of the world. The dude's been playing amazing defense. Yeah. Just made one misplay, just kind of overran the ball a little bit. And after that, Devin Williams gave up a walk, but closed the door, gave the Brewers their first 5-out save in a game closer than 3 runs since Drew Pomeranz in 2019.
Oh, wow. A lot of 2019 stuff coming out this episode, huh?
Hey, I'm here for it. So that's where we're at. The Brewers play tonight in a little less than 2 hours, but they play tonight in St. Louis, and then they have 3 games at Tampa Bay, and then 3 games versus Houston between now and next Wednesday. We will be at Monday's game.
We will be. We'll be there.
We will be there. Come find us. We're not just going to be there in attendance. We are going to be there as Wisco fanatics, presenting ourselves to Brewers fans, and we'll be there with Mental Health America. I'm just going to keep saying thank you because they've done a lot of prep work for this for us.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say one thing that might give some information away, but the amount of money that I heard that they spent on the stuff that we're giving away was just mind-boggling to me. I was like, what? Why did you – what? To me, that makes me feel good about the work that we're putting in.
That's kind of where I was going to go.
Mindset. But that's people believing in us and our vision. And honestly, God, I feel it makes me give me having like a nervous feeling, but like I'm also like proud of it. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm thank you. That's all I got to say.
And I don't want to be the kind of like the pat on our own back type person, but like we had to have made, a good impression for them to be willing to invest in us like this.
Right.
And they've known us for a month and a half.
Right.
That's, it's not like we've been friends for years, but it does kind of seem like that with how willing they have been to help us with it. So
It was the comic relief, I think.
I mean, hey, if we can't be anything, influence for good, we at least want people to have a good time when they're watching our show.
So I had a post on Facebook. If you don't follow my personal page, I like to post a lot of inspiring stuff, sports stuff. Basically, what this show is I try to inspire and I just talk about sports. That's like literally who I am as a human being. And this one was simple, but it was right to the point. And it's the world needs more good people, more kind people. And if you can't find one, be one.
Yeah.
And there's no truer words to live by than just be a kind person. If you can't find one, be the kind person that somebody finds that day and help uplift other people. And I promise you, if you do something for somebody else and you make them feel good, it'll make you feel so good about yourself. Like the rest of your day is just going to go fantastic.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get into some Bucks news? I got some extra Bucks news that's going to have to add into our discussion that we can kind of toss in here, because these are two names that I did not have on my list.
Yeah,
so
I'm ready. I'm trying to.
Jake and I, we ranked. This was updated as per yesterday, because obviously we have to do some in advance preparation for the show, and we've gotten more news since the show started about more candidates. But Jake and I have 8 names that we've ranked from 1 to 8, and I think we're going to start from 8 and go up.
Yep.
But the 8 we've discussed and looked at and ranked so far: Charles Lee, Mark Jackson, James Borrego, Kenny Atkinson, Scott Brooks, Adrian Griffin, Chris Quinn, and Kevin Young. Those are the 8 we have so far. Now, Adrian Wojnarowski has tweeted, within the last hour, that the Bucks have interviewed with Washington Wizards assistant Joseph Blair for the franchise's coaching job. Blair won a 2019 G League title with Rio Grande Valley before advancing as an NBA assistant with the Wizards, Timberwolves, and 76ers. So that's one. This one is the one that's a little more exciting to me. ESPN sources say the University of Houston coach Kelvin Sampson interviewed for the Milwaukee Bucks coaching job.
Oh, okay. That name
one.
holds a little weight. That name holds a little weight, man.
A little bit. Yeah, I like that one. So we'll probably be doing this every week until the coach is hired, ranking the interviewed coaches so far. Frank Vogel is going to be added to this list next week. So let's start with number 8. Give me your number 8. Doesn't have to be super in depth on why you have guys where they are. We can get a little more in depth as we go up the list, but start with your number 8. I know we have the same one, but
I have Kevin Young. He's just the guy I know the least about and have the least amount of confidence in. I went from confidence level for my numbers.
Okay.
Like, who would I feel more confident in leading this team?
Yeah, I have a feeling the 2 guys that were in your top 3 that both got interviewed are probably going to be towards the top of your list, but I won't.
Just because I trust my work, baby.
I won't speculate. Number 8, I also have Kevin Young. If we're already kind of on the fence about Monty Williams, I don't know how super confident I feel in his lead assistant. And that's, again, like Jake said, I'm not very familiar with him either to know how much influence he really had on any of the Phoenix teams that he's been an assistant on, or whether that influence was more from Monty Williams. I don't know if Kevin Young has interviewed for a lot of other previous head coaching jobs, like a guy like Adrian Griffin, who I'll just say is my number 7, is a guy who's interviewed for several head coaching openings. He's basically in the same situation as Charles Lee, same position that Darvin Ham was in, where he had interviewed for multiple positions as an assistant before getting a head coaching job. I said it last week. I said it when Jake and I did our show when Mike Budenholzer was fired, that Charles Lee is going to be a head coach in 2023. Where remains to be seen. So number 7, mine is Adrian Griffin. I'm not super high on Nick Nurse just because of things that I've seen from Toronto since their championship. I did have a former Toronto assistant, but he's a guy who left after the championship season. That's Sergio Scariolo. He is a European coach. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to try to connect European basketball to our European superstar, Sergio Scariolo, I feel like, is a guy who carries a little bit of weight potentially with Giannis in that aspect. But other than that, I'm not super high on one of Nick Nurse's current assistants before he was let go from Toronto. So Adrian Griffin is my number 7.
I also have Adrian Griffin as my son, number 7. Nick Nurse, coaching tree. I'm also not high on Nick Nurse from things that I've read and looked up. So it's kind of where I'm at with him.
All right. Who's your number 6?
James Paguero. Wait,
James Borrego?
Yeah, Borrego. Sorry.
Ooh.
James Borrego. Yeah, that's why I have my number 6. Just not super impressed, I guess is what I'm going to say.
Right.
I'm not going to say that he can't coach, but I haven't – the guys that I have above him for a reason. He's kind of the best of the worst in my
I'll give you a spoiler alert. He just missed the cut for being in my top 3 candidates overall.
I remember.
All right. So my number 6, that's where I have Mark Jackson. Probably going to hurt you a little bit. I really do agree with the quote that I brought up from Basketball Index when we did our original coaching candidates episode about the availability of coaches is full of retread coaches for a reason, and that good head coaching is a scarcity. There's not a ton of Greg Popovich's just waiting in the wings, or Eric Spoelstra's just waiting to be grabbed, or Luke Fickell is an example. There's not, a ton of guys just waiting to be scooped up from a different situation and put into the perfect one. I will say if there's rumors that this is an interest, but it's not really anything that can be substantiated because he's still employed by his former team, or his current team, I should say. I shouldn't even say former, is Ty Lue. He's a guy that would probably immediately rocket towards the top of my list, but there has been no conversation. There has been no permission given. There has been no connection, and he's still currently employed. So I'm not going to speculate on Ty Lue, because until he is even potentially available, it's literally just a waste of time. Sorry. I get that people really, really want Ty Lue, but until there is at least some shred of possibility, it's a waste of time to speculate on it.
Clearly the Clippers still want Ty Lue too. So
right. So my number 6 is Mark Jackson. He's just another kind of one of those retread guys that I feel that there are more optimistic feeling options out there, and I would be okay with switching him with my number 5, which I have Scott Brooks as my number 5. I'd be perfectly fine switching those two around, but I do have more optimism with the guys that I have in my top 4. But who is your number 5?
I have Scott Brooks.
All right.
I have Scott Brooks above James because Scott Brooks has competed. He's been in the finals. He's coached the team to the finals. He understands how to deal with superstars. He's had a couple on his team. So dealing with those kind of personalities, people always give credit to Kerr, like, oh, Kerr's this great coach. And I agree, he's a good coach. But when you have a certain level of talent, it makes it a little bit easier.
So this is analogy that just came to my mind is like Mark Jackson set the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like all Steve Kerr had to do was sit down and eat.
Pretty much.
Not to say that Steve Kerr isn't a good eater, but the table was set for him.
I agree.
Okay. Who's your number 4?
Oh, you just okay. So you just said okay.
I'm gonna let each of us keep going. You'll go 5-4, I'll go 4-3, you'll go 3-2, I'll go 2-1, and then you give me your number 1. We'll just keep stepping it up.
So my number 4 is Kenny Atkinson, a guy from the Steve Kerr tree, right? I feel like I said he's a guy like Charles Lee, where he's been kind of waiting for the right opportunity. Mm-hmm. He could have taken the Hornets job, if I remember correctly, last year, but he was kind of like, eh. And then the NBA, with the draft lottery that has happened last night, they're kind of like, do we want to send Webby there? Do we? This guy's a generational talent, the best one since LeBron. Do we want him stuck in Charlotte? No. And I don't care what anybody says. The NBA draft lottery is rigged. It is rigged as hell. They need to show that shit live for me to understand that it's not rigged.
Didn't they do it live?
Come on, man. Come on. They don't really do it live. Come on.
Do you know like how the lottery works? It kind of works reversed to how I thought it did.
How so?
So when they start with number 15.
Yeah.
It's not that the teams that have like the best odds at getting the number 1 pick have like the most balls for the number 1 pick. It's the teams that have like the 15th best record. They have the most balls in for the number 15 pick.
Oh.
And then they count up as opposed to going from 1 to 15 like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's a little bit different. I mean, outside of changing the ping pong balls, I don't really see how it could be rigged. And, like, it's going to be weird things sometimes, but like, I mean, we're talking San Antonio. I mean, it's a storied franchise, but it's not, and it's not an LA team. It's not a New York team. It's not a Miami. It's not a Chicago team. It's not, a massive market where it's like, okay, it's coming down to Charlotte and Chicago. Wonder where he's going to go.
Right.
Or Atlanta and LA. Wonder where he's going to go. So, for it to be, San Antonio over, I forgot who got number 2, but I mean, Houston.
Hornets got number 2.
Well, the Hornets
got 3.
Well, the Hornets are getting Scoot Henderson, so they got that going for them.
Are they going to take Scoot Henderson? They have LaMelo Ball.
So you can use Scoot as a 2.
He's better with the ball in his hands. I don't know. I don't know if I was them at number 2, I'm probably taking Brandon Miller, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows what Charlotte's going to do? Your dad said Detroit got screwed.
That's fine with me.
Nobody cares.
Detroit basketball.
Oh, they're gonna have to start trusting the process over there pretty soon. They got like 9 top 10 picks on that team in the last 5 years.
Ooh.
All right. So your number 4 was Kenny Atkinson.
Yes, sir.
My number 4 is Chris Quinn. When I did research on him, he was another guy who was kind of just outside my top 3. Basically, as a Spoelstra clone is really what it is. Haslam said that he's basically like a Spoelstra clone. That he'll get a head coaching job. He's got an understanding of both, the both offense and the defense. It's it is what it is. Your dad said the lottery is dumb.
Yep.
It's I don't know. I think the NBA sees it as a deterrent to tanking, whereas if the number 1 pick is won by the team with the worst record, you're going to have more blatant tanking.
Well, then they need to start throwing fines around, or when they think teams are tanking, they need to start, putting their foot down a little bit harder, I think
if Adam Silver wants to do, an in-season tournament, that, the top
number 1 pick.
Yeah. Exactly. Like the top 4 teams or the top 8 teams after the All-Star break need to have their schedule reworked, and the team who has the best record, in the last month of the season or something gets the number 1 pick because, it looks like they're actually trying.
I agree. That would make for a more competitive league.
I strongly agree with that. Might also combat load management a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. If you have a stretch of teams where you're playing Detroit, Charlotte, Portland, and San Antonio all in a row, and you have a 5-game lead on first place, and you have 4 teams that are coming trying to get wins because they want the number 1 pick, might not be as many starters resting in those games.
Hey, we might be onto something, man.
Look at us solving problems.
We better be trademarking this shit, boy. We can get paid.
Your dad said they fine for everything but the money. Big dollar babies can't play 82 games. Well, I mean, now if you miss more than 15, you're not eligible for end of season awards. So,
and guess what? You don't win those end of season awards. You don't get that super max.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my number 3, that's where I have Charles Lee. You mentioned that these are kind of in order of inspiration. Charles Lee, he's a guy who's interviewed for 4 head coaching jobs now. So he's going to have one. And I think he's deserving. I think he's proven that he's got the ability to do so. It just hasn't come to fruition yet. So yeah, MVP became a joke award this season. The 3rd best player definitely won it, but it is what it is. So who's your number
3? This is where I have Mark Jackson. He's a guy who had, and now remember, you're going to think of the Warriors, and you're going to think about the dynasty, right? He was right before the dynasty, putting them in the right direction. Mark Jackson, he got that team in the right direction. He boasted a .526 win percentage with a team that was horrible before that. A team that was kind of like the Bucks, that was on the fringe of the playoffs every year, 8 seed, get their ass whooped.
He's like the Jason Kidd to Mike Budenholzer type thing.
I agree. But the reason that I like him so much, and you can disagree with me, anybody can disagree with me, I don't care. the thing that the Bucks missed this season that I don't think that we brought up was Darvin Ham's toughness from the coaching bench. And it was on full display after they just lost to Denver. And he goes, we lost one game. It's not the NCAA tournament. We're going to be fine. That confidence and that mental toughness matters in the playoffs, especially. You know, he definitely would have helped in this Miami series with adjustments and everything that went on. But I think a guy like a Mark Jackson who just looks like a tough guy, first of all, and a guy that I think is a tough guy. I think from the bench, that could be a big thing for this team.
All right. So who is your number 2?
This is where I put Charles Lee, actually.
Okay.
I don't have either of my guys as number 1, but I do trust my research, and I trust the guys that I had on my list.
I like it.
I think Charles Lee, first of all, like I said, I'm going to be a little redundant here. He's young. So if you get a guy and he's the right choice, he could be a coach for a long, long time, and you have that solved, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
He's familiar with our players. Our players like him. They talk highly of him. I just don't see a reason why he couldn't be our head coach. You said he's going to get one. I don't see why Milwaukee would be a problem for him to have that. I don't know what connection he has in the league for a lead assistant and stuff like that. You have some thoughts on that as well. But Charles Lee, I think, would be tremendous for us, and he's my number 2 option.
So James said he basically kind of what I was getting out of the lottery, trying to not reward tanking, which, you know, it just increases your chances of getting the number 1 pick. It doesn't guarantee you anything. And it's harder to tank in the NFL where you only play 17 games than it is in the NBA where you play 82.
I really don't think tanking happens in the NFL.
I don't either. I
think the NFL, there's too much pride on the line, man. Like
right.
when you're physically running into somebody,
right?
You don't want to be on live TV where the internet is a bad place for a loss.
And the NFL is the least league where you can be like, oh, it's just one game.
Yeah.
Because they all carry more weight because there's so few of them.
Agreed.
You know, you're at a point in Major League Baseball where you could lose 10 games in a row, have that be the equivalent of one NFL game.
Think about that.
I mean, you're playing 16 or 17 NFL games on 162 Major League Baseball games. That's only 8 fewer games than being 10 times as many games as they're playing in the NFL.
And people were freaking out when the Brewers lost 5. I'm like, bro, chill the fuck out. We play 1 million games.
Yeah. So, yeah. My number 2, that's where I have Kenny Atkinson. He's out of the guys interviewed so far, the assistant that has been in the best situations for me to be confident in them as a head coach.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, Charlotte was willing and ready to hire him as their head coach coming into this season. I believe Steve Clifford got that job. He was actually a guy that I was interested in replacing Darvin Ham with last season.
Yep.
So I do like, this is going to tie into where I'm going to go with my number 1 and some of these other guys that are potentially interviewing for the job. But what I really want is I want an offensive-minded head coach with a defensive-minded lead assistant.
Okay. Makes
now,
sense.
This came out today that the Bucks are going to interview Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel is a defensive-minded assistant. Charles Lee is a defensive-minded assistant. Chris Quinn is a defensive-minded assistant. I've brought up guys. Jordy Fernandez is kind of both. He's still my number 1. Mike D'Antoni is more of an offensive mind. Dave Yeager is a defensive-minded assistant. Those are the guys that I'm looking at that I would be, those are the guys that I want aside my number 1. Because I want an offensive-minded head coach, which is why I have James Borrego as my number 1 out of the guys that have interviewed so far.
Oh, wow.
James Borrego took a damn near talentless Charlotte team and increased their efficiency to points where it's like, okay, like they're not a good team, but they're doing good things.
Oh.
So if you give a guy like that a good GM and great personnel, that is where I feel a lot of optimism when it comes to things like half-court offense where the Milwaukee Bucks struggled last season.
They've been struggling with that for a while, to be honest with you. But...
And so with James Borrego, you look at Charlotte and look at the Charlotte Hornets. not having a lot of talent and dealing with LaMelo Ball having some injuries in Borrego's final season in Charlotte. But they actually, in his second and third years there, they were 10th in close game win percentage, which kind of struck me as interesting. His final season in Charlotte, they were number 1 in assists and number 8 in offensive efficiency, despite being a horrible team.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then on top of that, he's a good person. Like his former assistant said, he's a player's first coach with the ability to hold them accountable. And part of it, of gaining respect, came from bringing in topics of outside of basketball that can relate to players. That really struck me as something that would resonate with a guy like Giannis. For your coach to be able to connect with you, to gain that trust in a smaller time frame. When you're looking at it, you're like, this guy is not coming in to try to help you build to a championship team. You are coming into a team that has championship expectations and needs to hit the ground running as soon as the season starts. Well, obviously whoever the candidate is that ends up getting hired, obviously through the first month or two of the season, you're going to see some growing pains as guys, figure out new systems and stuff like that. But over the course of this year, you're going to want to see the Bucks near the top of the Eastern Conference, looking like they are ready to go on a championship run. So for me, James Borrego is a guy who has head coaching experience. He was an interim coach after some coaches were fired in Orlando, and he coached 4 years in Charlotte and definitely coached that team to better than their talent was.
Okay.
You could credit him with some of the development of guys like LaMelo Ball, Malik Monk, both of the Martins. One of them on Miami tore the Bucks to shreds.
Yeah.
In the first round. Also PJ Washington, and he had one of the Hernan Gomez's, I believe, also in Charlotte during part of his tenure. He was fired in part for not getting guys like Kai Jones, JT Thor, and James Bouknight to be good players. Ooh. Have you heard of any of those guys since?
No.
Okay. So I like James Borrego as an offensive-minded head coach. Now, with Frank Vogel being interviewed by the end of the week, he's a defensive-minded guy. If you can, I'll save this because this was one of the segments we had last week, and I'll let you give your number one, and we'll come back to this. But James Borrego is my number one. Who's your number one?
My number one is Chris Quinn.
All right.
Basically, I'm going off of two things. I said what I said about Mark Jackson. I feel like the Bucks could use a little bit of toughness, a little bit of edge. Chris Quinn being a guy like you heard the quote from an all-time NBA tough guy, Udonis Haslem. That guy doesn't take shit. I'll say that. But him being like Coach Spo, and I am a massive, massive fan of Coach Spoelstra. Him being a mimic of that with a Giannis should terrify everybody in the NBA. You have a guy like think about Spoelstra with Giannis. Think about that. Look what they turned Bam Adebayo into. Giannis is Bam Adebayo on steroids, dude.
Bruce and Cody Martin into, or sorry, Caleb Martin. I don't even know which one they have. I don't care.
They have one of them that was playing really good against us for some fucking reason. Now you have a bunch of high IQ guys, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have guys that you're going to give them an edge, right? We have too many nice guys on our team. And I love that we have nice guys. Don't get me wrong. I like that they're good people. We've talked about it a million times. Brook Lopez, he blocks a lot of shots. At the end of the day, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton, he has very high basketball IQ, but really nice guy. Drew Holiday, literally just won Teammate of the Year. Do I have to tell you that he's a nice guy?
Second season in a row and the third time in 4 years.
Do I have to tell you he's a nice guy? No, he's a nice fucking guy. Okay? Giannis literally tells dad jokes. Dude, the nicest people tell dad jokes. Are you serious?
I mean, like, you look at a guy like Joe Ingles, who is a little edgy on the court, but like he's like actually a large, like massive advocate for autism awareness because he has a child that has it.
That is fantastic, and I love that. I really do. But he's a nice guy. Okay?
Not on the court. He's not a nice guy on the court. He's a dick on the court, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest with
right,
you.
right, right.
Drew Holiday called him an asshole.
He's more of like, because Drew's like the nicest person of all time. That's why I told you after when Drew was talking shit with Jimmy, I was kind of like, "What the fuck is going on here, man? Like, that's crazy to me."
Yeah.
We got too many nice personalities. That's why when PJ was here, I'm not trying to be one of those guys, but PJ was the edge, right? Even if PJ scored 0 points, he was 0 for 8. Let me tell you something. He had those guys up here ready to go to war.
Yeah.
I need a guy that's going to lead us like that. And if Chris Quinn could be like Spo, and Spo is a player's guy too, don't get me wrong, but he also has those guys ready to go to battle. Whenever we talk about Miami, what do we talk about? They play hard.
Yep.
That's what I want. And I'm not saying that the Bucks don't play hard, but having your guys ready with an edge every single day in the playoffs, like every game is a war.
Being able to fire teams up, because it seems, like the Bucks were relying on their talent to gain big leads and just didn't keep doing the things that got them their lead when they had it.
No.
And Miami wasn't a team that was going to roll over.
No, because they're ready to go to war, dude.
Right. So on that, and you weren't here for this this segment last week, but I'm just going to go back to James Borrego and talking about Frank Vogel, with James Borrego being, in my opinion, the best offensive-minded coach available out of the 8 so far, and Frank Vogel being an experienced championship-level defensive-minded head coach with 11 years of NBA head coaching experience. So you're talking about 15-plus years between the two of them, one offensive mind, one defensive mind. I would love the pairing of James Borrego as the head coach with Frank Vogel as his lead assistant. I would love that pairing, honestly.
Now, I know James Borrego is the best offensive one, so I would love him as an assistant.
Okay.
But I still, man, if I had to match him up with any of these 8, obviously you just heard I love Chris Quinn. I should have done more research on him. I didn't research him as much as I should have.
I have a little bit. So I have the Haslam coaches, or the Haslam quotes, saying that he's got the knowledge, the experience, the relationship with players. He's got every base covered when you talk about checking the boxes to have the ability to be a successful head coach. He's been with Miami since 2015. And before that, he was the Northwestern Director of Player Development.
He's been everywhere, dude. He understands the grind.
Right. And he had a cup of tea in the NBA as well. So he's been there. If you're talking a guy like Chris Quinn, who doesn't have any head coaching experience, how would you feel about pairing him with a guy like Sergio Scariolo, who's got damn near 35 years of coaching experience, although only 3 of it was in the NBA as an assistant previously, but has a shit ton of experience coaching in Europe?
I think that could be one of those things where, and we talked about with Jordan Love, might have been just personal, but we talked about people like the unknown of potential. So when you think about Jordan Love, right, you're thinking like, man, what can this guy turn into, right? Yeah. So I think that pairing of Chris Quinn and scoliosis that could be scary, dude. The Spanish pick and roll.
That's why I want him. Oh,
the Spanish pick and roll with a guy that gets you ready to eat somebody's face off. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Florida, man. Is that intentional? Because he's from Miami?
No, that was just an accidental. But hey, it worked out. I think that could be a beautiful marriage. So
there's looking at if you can convince some of these, other assistants, former assistants, a Becky Hammond. Like, if you can convince any of these
right now, you see that?
Yeah, she might have taken herself out of the running, but I mean, if you can convince some of these people to buy in and be like, hey, like, I know you're doing your thing in Sacramento, Jordy, but do you want to come be the head coach? We're going to bring this guy in from Europe who runs this crazy style of offense. Can you marry that with some fast pace? And here you go. Here's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Dude,
all I'm going to say is, bro, more fast break for Giannis is bad for your team. Okay? You were sick and tired of watching him shoot free throws before? He's about to shoot 50 a game, dude. Boy, let me tell you.
So, yeah, that's why I want an offensive-minded head coach. I want somebody who's going to come in and, revolutionize the offense, because the Bucks have capable defenders that even if they have somebody who's not necessarily like super locked into, doing things defensively, that you can bring in an assistant to help with that. But I want somebody who is super cerebral on offense to basically score 130 a game and then be like, all right, we have 3 all-NBA defenders in our starting lineup.
Yeah.
They're going to do their thing. They know how to play NBA defense. Let's teach them how to play half-court offense and score every single time and not go through some droughts like they did in the first round this year.
Now, let me add this in real quick while we wrap this up here. Don't forget that whoever gets this head coaching gig is getting the first season of the Giannis Antetokounmpo villain arc. Don't forget that. Don't fucking forget that, because I'm going to remember that when he's dunking on everybody in February, because he is pissed.
He's a guy that I don't think would lose that edge.
No.
5 months from now when we're talking about the season getting ready to go. Like, he's going to remember that. He's not going to that's not going to dissipate in him over the next 5 months.
I think with basketball still going on, obviously he still remembers it right now. When he gets his little month, 2 months here where there's no basketball, he might forget about that just for a second. But I'll tell you what, once those fucking lights go on, once he ties those goddamn shoestrings, I promise you he's going to remember.
I'm just going to say this, that Europe is lucky that Eurobasket was last year.
Boy, you're not wrong about that.
So,
you're not wrong. But I want him to have that energy in a Bucks uniform.
Right. All right. We'll be back next week. There's going to be more names on this list. We can add them in. We can add in our thoughts with it. But definitely some interesting candidates so far. And a super wide net is being cast by John Horst here. And I'm totally on board with that. Even if it's not guys that they're seriously considering. They just interviewed a Washington Wizards assistant. He's been in the G League for a long time and done a lot of successful things there. But for him to be a longtime assistant of a team that didn't play very well last year in Washington, you're just getting more guys in the door. I think it was you that said it, actually, that you're interviewing more and you're getting more philosophies of what they think could be done with this roster that you could then pass on.
That part, but I like that thought process.
That you can pass on to whoever does get the job and say, hey, we interviewed Kelvin Sampson from Houston, a team that was really good in college last year. Here's something he thought we could do. Can we do that?
Wow. I like that. And I think Giannis is going to sign off on whoever the hell John Horst wants. I think
John Horst has been pretty forthcoming by saying that he trusts players' opinions and that will be a factor. So I don't think we have to worry about it. That people need to stop saying things like John Horst better run his pick by Giannis first. Like, he's talking to them before they're coming in. Like, he's already, I guarantee you, all the money I own in my house, that John Horst has already talked to Giannis about the head coach search.
I agree.
And what Giannis is looking for, what Giannis, likes about the person that he's going to put his trust in to put him in positions to succeed.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right. So upcoming, we will be back on Friday night. Friday night, we were doing our draft review. We kind of wanted to let the noise die down because there's just so much of that in the week after the draft that we didn't just want to add to the noise, and we kind of wanted to put our own spin on it. So similar to the way we did our draft series, where we each picked a couple guys to talk about in our top 10s, we broke up the picks, and we each have a few to talk about. And then we're also going to add in some draft snipers, some teams that we're mad at for taking guys that we wanted or picking guys right before us that we were hoping would fall. So we're going to add that in, and Simon and Brian will be back with us for that. Then next Monday, we will be at American Family Field. We will be there as Wisco Fanatics with Mental Health America at a table, handing out stickers and canned koozies. We got a big old banner that they made for us that was awesome of them to do. So we're gonna be at American Family Field in front of Brewers fans
Hopefully there's thousands of our logo. Just
not as Brewers fans. We're going to be there as Wisco fanatics. We're working with the team in Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is
pretty sick.
It's a big deal for us. We're excited for.
Yeah. Can't wait. I will see you Friday and I'll see you Monday, dude. Yeah. Full week, baby.
Yeah. James, we are not hiring Doc Rivers, so that's going to be
I'm good on that. Fuck that.
That's going to be a fat no for me, dog. But then also, I'm going to put this out there now. This is 2 weeks away yet, but June 2nd, we are going to do, this is going to be a Friday night show. We are going to do a Thank You, Aaron Rodgers episode. Yep. I know some people are happy to see him go because they didn't like his off the field antics or the drama surrounding the trade. But the fact of the matter is he was here for 18 years.
It's a long time.
And in some people's opinions, mine included, he's the best player of our franchise history.
Yep.
He won us a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And he's given us a lot of great memories. And Jake, myself, Simon, and Bryant are going to put our top fives together of Aaron Rodgers moments that we remember. And we're going to thank Aaron Rodgers for his time in Green Bay.
I'll still always love Aaron.
And that's the thing. Yeah, it shouldn't be ill will from anybody in Wisconsin or Green Bay about Aaron Rodgers.
Those whatever you think about do are just, I tell you what, I'm so sick and tired of being like, reading a comment and it's like, oh, we got rid of a 39-year-old washed up quarterback. Like, dude, were you saying that like 2 years ago when he won the MVP and he was leading us to 13 wins? No, you weren't saying that shit.
We're saying that he's selfish for playing injured. Like, people love Brett Favre because he played through injuries, but now Aaron Rodgers was doing it, so he's selfish. Even though we were on a run to try to make the playoffs.
It is what it is, man. They say you can't fix stupid, but we're just trying to fix the people that are only half stupid, I guess.
or just entertain some people who enjoyed watching Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback of the Packers, which we did. So
yeah,
we're going to tell you the ones that we enjoyed the most, or the top fives at least for each of us. So we're not exclusively picking, so there's not guaranteed to be 20 moments, but I will guarantee you that not all four of us will have the Super Bowl as number one. We're not ranking Aaron Rodgers' top 5 moments. We're ranking our top 5 moments that we remember of Aaron Rodgers.
I already have my number one. I'll tell you that right now.
I
don't even have my list started for that, but my number one's set. It's good. It's locked.
I know 2 of my top 5, and neither of them are the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl was great though. Won't lie about that.
It'll probably end up in my top 5, but it's not close really to the things that come to mind first that were the most exciting.
I agree.
So, or the most memorable. Part of it is, who you're sharing the memories with. So
that's why my number one's locked, bro.
Okay. All right, man. I will see you Friday night then, and Monday and Wednesday.
Yes, sir. I'll see you Friday
in the next week.
That's okay with me. We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah. Almost half of your life now that you're getting old.
I mean, fuck you.
Great way to end the show.
Later, buddy.